If you're still exporting drawings just to rebuild them as presentations in Canva or Adobe, we gotta talk. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to draw, style, and present your work end-to-end with one tool to save hours. Today, we're talking about how interior designers can simplify their process by working in one connected workflow, from drawing to presentation. I'm going to walk you through a kitchen design proposal, but everything you'll see applies to any interior design documentation, including floor plans, sections, elevations, details, and schedules. So instead of exporting our drawings and restyling them in another tool, redoing the work every time that a change comes along, we're going to look at a workflow where drawings and presentations stay connected, to scale, and always up to date. To demonstrate this, I'm going to be using Rayon Design, the next generation all-in-one tool for interior designers and architects like you. You can create a free Rayon account using the link below, and you'll also get access to the template using this walkthrough. Let's go ahead and get started. So with Rayon, you can draw and present all in one tool. Rayon actually lets you go from end to end, from importing DWG, DXF, or even PDF files to delivering a refined, polished presentation for your clients. You can actually draw accurately and to scale, edit those plans with precision, and produce a complete architectural drawing set from floor plans, sections, elevations, details, mood boards, materials, FF&E, schedules, all that good stuff that we always need to do. So today, we're going to focus on how easy it is to turn architectural drawings into a full design presentation. And I've got my presentation up here, our kitchen design proposal. This workflow works for drawings created in Rayon, as well as drawings imported from other software and prepared at scale. The key advantage here is that things are flexible. So you can stylize plans on the fly, and then when changes come up, there's no need to return to, a different drafting software and then re-export and restyle. Everything just happens all in one place. So I'm going to start with a quick overview of the drawing workflow in Rayon, and then we're going to dive into setting up the presentation. For this tutorial, like I said, we're going to look at a kitchen design proposal that I've made in Rayon. Just be mindful that you can apply anything that I am talking about today to any sort of design project or documentation set, as far as floor plans, sections, mood boards, whatever, go. So this is our presentation that we're looking at. And just a quick little overview of the setup here. We have two different canvases. One is our presentation canvas, which is where we're going to basically present everything. And one is our drawing canvas, our model canvas, and that's where we're gonna draw everything. So you can see here when I'm in the model canvas, I can actually select things and edit them and move them around. Whereas up here in the presentation canvas, if I click on that same drawing, you can see that this is really just a view looking at our model canvas. So this is where we're going to present everything. So to start, let's take a look at the model canvas, because again, this is where most of the all of your drawing is going to take place. And you can see that there's multiple different views that are drawn here, and it doesn't really matter because when you're presenting these on your presentation boards, you can kind of adjust your frame sizes to just highlight one thing, or if you wanted to show all of these drawings, you can just kind of set your frame sizes to show all of those. So think of this as just your drawing board, and you can really draw anything in here, and then we'll worry about the presentation later. So in our model canvas here, I do just want to show you real quick how you can adjust the way that you're seeing this if you prefer to draw with not necessarily looking at styles or anything, just looking at straight up line work. You can always change the way that you are looking at this canvas by clicking on your little hamburger menu over here, going to preferences, and turning on your wireframe. Now here, this is a little bit more of a traditional way of working in a CAD drawing. So if that helps you visually, you can also turn on over here in the hamburger menu under preferences, the grid, which you can see now is a little bit helpful when you're, again, drawing with your line work. I personally like to keep my styles and my colors and everything on, so I'll turn those off as we work through this drawing set today. But the cool thing is that whether you have the grid and the wireframe on or the styles, either way, this is an accurate tool to scale, precise, works with any unit system, but also, again, you can kind of stylize things as you go. So if you're, a little bit more of a visual person, then maybe this kind of, this view of the canvas works better for you. But either way, totally accurate, and it will allow us to take this presentation from the model canvas into the presentation canvas. So as you can see here in our model canvas, we have our drawings already drawn for us. So these have already been accurately drawn. You see that there's some dimensions on here. There's even, our section cuts, which are indicating these details over here. So we already have quite a bit done, but I just want to show you a couple different things that are going to be really important as we move through this set. I'm not going to dive deep into how to actually draw these drawings, but there is a ton of more videos on our YouTube channel that you can check out if you want to learn more about how to actually go from complete blank page to what we're looking at right here. But just a few things to note before we move on. This is our layers panel over here, and this is going to be very much like a traditional CAD tool or even like Photoshop. Just think of this as, where every single thing in your drawing sits, and you can kind of move them up and down in order to create like a hierarchy. You can also easily turn these on and off. And if you are importing a drawing from CAD or another software, the inherited layers will come in as well. And you can adjust those, delete those, hide them, whatever you need to do, trace over them. But layering is going to really help you stay organized in your workflow here in Rayon. So that's a really important thing to point out. Another thing that I want to point out here too is that you see that some of these drawings in here have kind of like what look like groups. And while you could call them groups, they're also essentially blocks. They're called blocks in Rayon. And what that means is that I did not have to draw these. I did not have to create these from scratch. Rayon just already has these blocks prepared for us, and they are to scale, and they're basically just a drag and drop situation. Now, the cool thing about the blocks in Rayon's block library, which is filled with over 10,000 blocks, is that these blocks come in a front view, a top view, and a side view. So you're taken care of for basically every single view that you might need, from floor plan to elevation to section. So you can see here that this refrigerator block, I have a front view, and then I also have the corresponding top view. Now, to access those blocks, you can just go over here in the panel that says blocks, go to the library tab, and then you will see here that we've got tons of different categories of different blocks, which you can pop into and go see what's in there if there's a specific category you're looking for. Or I also like to just use the search feature here. So, if I was looking for a stove, we can just type in stove and it will come up with all of these options. And then you can see here that if you click open, there are the 3 different views. So all you have to do is literally just like drag and drop this into your drawing, and it will come in to scale, and then you can just go place it. Then of course, if you want the corresponding front and side views, same goes for that. You'll just drag and drop into your model and be able to place them wherever you need to. You can also easily adjust the size of these blocks, and you can even adjust the styles as you desire. Now, speaking of styles, let's talk about how we can create styles. And edit styles and save styles. So the styles in Rayon are basically just, I would refer to them as fills, basically. So what that means is that, each of these elements that has some sort of fill or hatch or whatever, that's a style. So if I select, for instance, this hatch right here, you can see over here under the fill, it shows me what is happening in that style. So if I just click on this hatch, I can see that there are different ways to fill this area. So I could choose a solid, I could choose a gradient, I could choose a texture, I could even upload my own image. But there are a ton of these styles that are already basically pre-made in here, and you can just kind of like adjust them as necessary. So, if for some reason we were maybe doing like subway tile or something here, and maybe we were doing it vertical tiles. So under like transform, you can rotate it. So we'll say 90 degrees, and now those are rotated. And maybe, those are a little bit too big, so we want those half the size. So once you kind of go through that process and you find a style that you like, you can save that style. So in order to save this style, and also actually let's go back, I can also show you too that you can change the color of the hatch as well. So if we wanted it to, represent maybe the color of the tile or something like that, we can easily change that here. So let's just pick something. We'll pick like a medium green. Okay, so once we have found a style that we like, we're just gonna hit this plus save style, and then I'll say green subway tile. Okay, so that's saved now. And you can see that when I select that now, I can see that that the style is saved, and I can actually reference it again over here. Right underneath blocks is styles. And so now that style is going to show up in my styles over here. You can see the green subway tile. And so I can apply that again later in this project if I need to. And so this process is completely repeatable with any other style in here. So even when you're working in floor plans, like there are different styles that you can save. It's really cool because once you kind of create some styles that you maybe know that you're going to use on future projects again, you can easily, again, save those styles and then use them on future projects just by simply exporting a style library. Which again, if you want more information on, we have more videos on the YouTube channel that you are welcome to reference. So now that you have seen how Rayon works as a drafting tool, we can move on to the main event of this tutorial, which is turning these drawings into a presentation seamlessly. And once again, if you're looking for more in-depth step-by-step walkthroughs on anything that I've already talked about, from importing drawings to stylizing drawings, just be sure to check out our YouTube channel. There's a ton more information on there. Now, in most design workflows, once you finish a first pass of the drawings, you then export your drawings and you move into another tool, like for instance, Canva or Adobe. But with Rayon, that extra step actually disappears. And I can simply jump over into our paper canvas, back up here, our interior design presentation canvas, which is directly connected to my drawings, which are always live, synced, and up to date. You can even see, for example, these vertical green subway tiles have automatically changed because this view is looking at our model canvas. How do you turn your drawings into a presentation? Well, let's go ahead and jump in to the paper canvas that I have here. And again, you can see that this is a finished presentation. And what we'll do now is we'll just kind of recreate one of these pages together. So our presentation canvas here is made up of pages. And you can see right here, it says page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. And so what we'll do is we'll just create a new page together, and we will look back to a view from our model canvas and just start recreating one of these pages. So what I'm gonna do is over here under layers, I'm gonna hit the plus new button, and then we will say new page. And it is just going to place a page here. You can see that I can move it around, and I will just kind of like put it here. And first things first is we want to change the size. So I can look over here. It looks like we're using an A3 size. So back to this page that we've added. Currently it's an A4 size. So let's just go down and click A3, and you can see that it automatically resizes that for us. And it also, we have these nice little grid lines that kind of keep us in check and keep everything aligned. So once we have that the correct size, now we are going to add a view to our page. And a view is always going to refer to our one source of truth drawing, which is our model canvas. So if you edit that drawing in the model canvas, all of the views in your presentation canvas are going to sync with that, just as I've shown you already with our nice little vertical green subway tiles. In order to place a view on our page, which I'm actually gonna go ahead and lock this page really quick. So I'll just right click it and say lock, and that way I just can't move it around anymore. Let's click the little plus sign over here and we'll say view, and it's asking me to add a view from where. It's saying, where do you want to add a view from? And I want to add it from our drawings canvas because I know that's my model canvas. So when I say that, it's just going to basically plop this view here. And what this is it's literally just a chunk from our model canvas. So now what I can do is I can kind of look for whichever part of this canvas I want, which I think I'm going to hone in on the top view. So what I like to do is I kind of like to just grab wherever I want to focus and put that on my sheet. Obviously, we need to rescale this, which is very easy. Over here under scale, you can just change the scale. I think I'm gonna make this 1:15, so it fits there nicely. Obviously, we've got all this other junk here, so I'm gonna just actually move my frame in. So that way it's a little bit more controlled and a little cleaner. And then once that's looking good, now we can add anything else that we want to here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the opportunity to maybe do a little appliance call out, floor plan mood board mesh thing. So, right here in this top view, I can see that I've got a refrigerator, I've got a sink, and I've got a stove top. So I'm going to basically go source those products and then bring images of those products onto this canvas easily by literally just copying and pasting them. And then we will kind of draw some leader lines to call them out and start creating, this really good storytelling presentation. So over here, I have, sourced my different appliances. So we can kind of click through here and just choose, whichever one we want. I'm just going to, let's just select the stainless steel one. And all I have to do is just right click and copy the image and then go back into my kitchen presentation and just paste the image in here. And it's as simple as that. So what I love about that is that I don't actually have to save these images to my desktop or have like a million different tabs open, I can just go source the product, copy it, paste it, and then bring it back into here. And then I can just kind of scale it down. And I think what we'll probably do is we'll just kind of call these out up top. So we can kind of, move things around in a minute if we need to, but let's just get our source images in here and then we'll go from there. So next up, I've got this sink and we'll just copy the image, go back to our kitchen presentation, paste the image and resize that. Again, we'll just place it up there. And then lastly, let's go get our stove top, our oven/stove, and we'll do the stainless steel one. We'll do copy, and then again, just paste it right in here. So now we've got basically like some call outs. This isn't necessarily like an aesthetic mood board, which you can totally do those in here as well. But this is a good way to add in images from source products and then have those call outs. So it, again, tells the story a little bit better. Now, if you do need to, if you are like layering some of these things on top of each other, you can see that it's kind of annoying that these images came in with white backgrounds, but that is super easy to change here in Rayon. All I need to do is select whichever image I want to remove that background with and just click down here and say remove background. And then that's automatically going to take care of that for me. And then I can just say done. And now what you have is like almost, it's a perfect cutout. It's basically like a PNG that you can just place on top of other items. And that's where your layering is going to come into effect too. So, make sure when you're adding these in, if you want to stay really organized, you can keep all of your like images on one layer and then layer the hierarchy of the sub layers inside that layer to make sure that, whatever item sits on top of whatever other item you want it to sit on top of. So I'll run that process again here for the sink and we'll just say remove background. And again, it's going to do the work for me. And then once it does, I'll hit done. And now same situation. And lastly, we'll run that with the fridge as well. We'll say remove background. We'll do the work for me and hit done. If I wanted to kind of like stack these on here for some reason, I could easily do that. Now I think that I'm going to do like a little bit more of just like a leader type of thing and just have all of my products sitting on top. And then I'll show you how to add in some leaders and stylize those. Now I do want to add in a representational axon of this appliance drawing. But before we do that, let's add our leaders. But I am just kind of like putting this over here in the corner because I think I want to leave a little space for that axon. So now if you do want to add leaders here, like if I just want to point to, where this is going to go, there are a couple different ways to do that. I like to usually just use like a polyline, or you can use an arrow. Or you could use the leader. There's really so many different options. But so if you want to use the leader, you can just click on the leader down there and do that. And what I would do there is just kind of like place my oven right on top of that. Now you could also, if we do another situation, you could just grab that polyline and click, and hit enter. And if that polyline's looking too thin for you, you can always change the style over here. You could make it red, you could make it really thick, creative freedom. I usually like to do like a little line with a dot on the end. And you can achieve that look by clicking the arrow here. So let's click our arrow and I'm gonna just click my start point and click where I want it to look. And so now you can see that I do have the dot on the end, but it's really tiny. So I'm gonna click on the arrow and change my style, which means I need to move myself. So let's make that dot a little bit bigger so we can see it. Maybe not that big. Let's do like a 0.3. And then if I want to make my line thicker, I can change that here. If I wanted to make it, again, if I wanted to make it like red or something, I could do that. And so now you can see that we're kind of like starting to stylize this line. So what I'll do is I'll place that where I want it. I will copy and paste it a few times. Again, this is just the way that I like to do it. There's really a lot of different ways to get to the same result in here. So whatever you're most comfortable with. Now we can see that I don't like that this line is sitting on top of my images. So all I need to do is just go into my layers over here and you can see that I have not stayed super organized, but I've got my 3 arrows here. And if I just drag those below my images, now you can see that the images basically sit on top of those. And if we had not removed the background of those images, that white background would be like cutting that off. So again, really helpful to make that a little bit more clean. So we've seen how easy it is to copy paste different items in here to I'm gonna make like a little bit of a mood board. Let me show you how easy it is to create a representational 3D axon just using the AI panel, again, right inside of Rayon. So if we go over here to the AI chat, what I can do is I can take a screenshot with this little plus button, so plus screenshot, and just basically show it what I want to take a screenshot of. And then without even having to prompt it, I can just click tools down here and say generate axonometry and hit the send button. And what that's gonna do is that's going to do its best to interpret, and honestly, I'm not giving it much information, right? It might even be better to do a screenshot of an elevation with these items. You know, right now I'm just showing it a top view, so it's probably gonna have a little bit of trouble distinguishing what this is gonna look like in 3D. Whereas if you give it an elevation, I think it maybe interprets that a little bit better. But what it's gonna do is, yeah, you can see over here. So if I hit preview, what it's doing is it's looking at exactly what I just showed it. It's got our fridge in there, it's got our sink, and it's got our oven / stovetop. And you can see that it even considered the images that I put on our board here. So I think that's pretty cool. So all I have to do is say insert image, and I can just kind of put that over here in the corner. Again, I'm going to remove the background because I don't want that white background here. So once it does that, I'll say done. Now we have this nice clean axon that kind of like, you know, explains the story a little bit better. You can also do so many things with this AI panel. You can stylize this differently. So, you know, I could select this image and say tools and then say stylize. Maybe I want it to look more rendered, or maybe I want it to just look like a clay model. So maybe if we wanted to have this basic axon, but then also we want to do, let's see here, stylize and then do a more rendered look. We'll say use selected image because we want to make sure it's using that image. And then we'll hit send. And then, you know, we could put the rendered view on here as well, just to kind of fill this page out a little bit more. Okay, so let's see what it got here. So if we hit preview, you can see that it's definitely taken some creative freedom here. Again, we can just insert that if we like it. We can also always, again, tell it to remove the background if you don't really like the wood floor. Let's see what it does there. So if I say remove background, it's gonna interpret that, and then we can just say done. So I like that a little bit better because it matches up a little bit better with this one up here. So again, these are just kind of representational, just to kind of give the user or the client a better idea of, you know, what this might look like in 3D. So to kind of finish up this page here, again, I've already kind of shown you how to do leaders and stuff, but if you want to give this sheet a name, in order to do that, all you need to do down here is just click text, very simple. And, you know, maybe we call this appliance plan and then hit check. And if there's, obviously, like if we wanted to match the style over here, what I would do is I would just kind of copy this stuff over here. So I would copy that and then paste it onto our plan here. But just to show you that you do have flexibility with fonts and colors and all that good stuff. So once you add in your text over here, you can easily change your font. You can change the color. You can change pretty much everything. Get it to where you like it. And then again, to like continue to stylize, if you want to like add some lines or add in your company logo or something like that. This is basically where you would do that. So since I do want this plan to align basically with the rest of our pages, what I'll do is I will just kind of move everything down. So I do have an area to add in the sheet title. So I'm going to just copy and then paste that over here. And then I would definitely rename this and just say appliance plan. Another cool thing too is that you can actually track all of these selections very easily as well. Down here, you can see that there is a nice FF&E schedule. And so again, there's tons of really cool features here in Rayon as far as like smart tables that like tie your data into your actual drawing and live sync. Again, there is more information on that specific topic on our YouTube channel. Okay, so we've got a really nice looking presentation here, very clear. And now you can see how Rayon helps you create presentations faster because everything just lives in one centralized space. And the really cool part is that if you are working with a team, you can easily collaborate with them in real time in the same model. So whenever you're ready to share your presentation, there's no need to like export anything or send emails to collaborate. You can easily collaborate with your teammates in here and then also with clients. So all you really have to do there is click on this share button up here at the top. Under access, this is where you would give team members access, so you can invite them with their email, you can make them an editor, admin, viewer, and then you can invite them here with this link. Like I mentioned earlier, you can also turn your project into a block or style library. So if you've been using a lot of different styles or blocks that you think you would use on future projects, you can easily turn it into a block or style library here. You can also turn this into a template. You can turn any project into a template, which again makes it really easy for future projects, so you're not like recreating from scratch. And then lastly, if you want to share this as a presentation with a client, all you have to do is just check this little box on, copy that link, and send the link to your client. Instead of exporting everything and sending in emails, this is just a link that you can continue to update and resend as any changes come along. So all you need to do is just copy this link, and then when the client opens it, this is what they're gonna see. So it will look like a true presentation. You can just kind of slide through the different pages, and as we kind of move to the end here, we'll be able to see that new page that we created, which is our appliance plan, of course. And if there are any changes, then you just refresh that link, and then the client can see your updates. Now, of course, if you do want to go the traditional route, you can export everything in here as a PDF or image simply by going to this hamburger menu over here and going to export, and then you can either export all of your images or individual images, or export all pages to a PDF or individual pages as well. And it is as simple as that. To wrap up, today we walked through a complete interior design workflow from drawing to presentation, all in one connected system. By keeping everything linked, you save time, avoid extra work, and stay flexible as the design evolves, because we know it always does, whether you're working solo or as a team. If you want to try this workflow yourself, you can go ahead and create a free Rayon account in the link below, where you will also get access to the templates that I have walked you through today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.